Hey up, Angus the Singing Driving Instructor here again. Right, what I want to talk about here is the technique for selecting the gears correctly. So this is going to be a little bit of an explanation, and then I'm going to cut to a video where I kind of demonstrate it in the car and sort of talk about the kind of micro movements and that kind of stuff, and hopefully it'll all make sense. So if you can take away from this the picture that I want you to have in your mind, and then maybe if you can sit in a car on a drive and practice it yourself, that would be really useful. Okay, so let's talk about what we got here. Imagine this is the gearbox, but try and imagine it like a maze or channels, if you like, in a big solid block of wood or solid block of iron, yeah, and you've got to find your way around this maze. Okay, so what we've got is reverse up here off on the left. Reverse sometimes in other cars is sort of down here. It depends on the manufacturer of the car. Incidentally, some cars have 6 gears as well, but I can only sort of teach you on the car I've got, obviously. So reverse off up here on the left, we've got first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Okay. This little round thing in the middle here is the gear lever, or positioning of it if you like, and these red arrows are the spring loading, the dreaded spring loading. The spring loading is there to help you, but it can hinder you, especially in the early stages, until you get used to sort of seeing how it's trying to help you. Yeah. Okay. This red line here is a gate to stop you going into reverse gear. You can open the gate with my car. It's a little lever underneath the sort of top of the gear lever. There's you curl your fingers under, and it opens that gate and allows you to go into reverse gear. Other manufacturers have a different sort of system for doing it. Some have a collar underneath that you lift up, where you push the actual gear lever down. Some of them you lift the gear lever up, but you get used to it. Right, so finding the gear. Now, if you are in neutral and you're wanting to go across into first gear, the problem you can get, especially in the early stages when you're under pressure and you've got your driving instructor sort of telling you to do a gear change and what have you, is to rush it a little bit and sort of get a poor technique. So if you just shoved the gear lever off in the general direction of first gear over here, then you'd just sort of hit this bed of metal here, and you'd end up sort of ricocheting around the gearbox, and you might end up in first, or you might sort of pull it back in panic and shove it up into third. Yeah, so that's what we don't want to do. What we do want to do is have a clear picture in your mind of the technique. So if we're going into first gear, the first movement of going into first gear is to pull the gear lever across at right angles. Yeah, so you're just going across as far as that gate there, or as far as that wall, and you're going to press the gear lever against there, and you're going to keep the pressure on the left as you then push the gear lever up into first. Okay, so that's how you find it. If you're going to go first to second, the first movement of going into second is actually to press the gear lever against that wall again, and then slide it down this wall, keeping it away from this chasm that's trying to suck you into no man's land, you know. So you're keeping that pressure over there as you pull the gear lever back. Yeah. Second to third, again, this is quite a tricky one, because if you just sort of shove it off in the general direction, all that means is you're going to hit this wall here, and then we start ricocheting again, and you could end up getting lost and going anywhere again. So the movement of going second to third is just to knock the gear lever forward towards first, but a bit softer, and then allow the spring loading to pull it across, and that tees you up bang in front of third, and then you can just push it forward into third gear. Yeah. If you're going third to fourth, this is quite an easy one. You're just going to pull the gear lever straight back. Yeah, dead easy, that one. Fifth gear, again, this sort of a common mistake. This can be a problematic one. A common mistake is just to sort of shove it across towards fifth, but again, you sort of ricochet off here, and sometimes you end up going back into third. So it's about knocking the gear lever forward. You kind of feel it settle in the middle, so you just push it forward until it settles, and then apply pressure to the right, and keep that pressure to the right as you then push it forward up there, so you're keeping it over here. Yeah, and that's how you find fifth. Now there's other gear changes you can do. Sometimes you go fifth to third, so in that instance you'd sort of keep it to the right hand side again to start off with as you pull it back, and then release the pressure and it just tees up in front of third again. Yeah, so that'll be fifth to third. But there's other ones you can practice. You do need to sort of sit in a car, like I say, and practice doing them. Have this picture in your mind, and it should help you. Yeah, okay. So now I'll demonstrate it. So I'll shove a video in here and demonstrate it for you. Cheers. Okay, so a demo of each gear. I'm going to do them each one a couple of times. One with my hand in the correct position on the top, and then another one with my hand down here, so you can see what's going on with this picture here, and I can just sort of talk about it a little bit more. Right, so first gear, I was talking about the micro movements. If you're going to first gear, we're in neutral at the moment. If you're going to first gear, there's a slight rotation of your palm to the right, and then you push the gear lever to the left, and you keep that pressure to the left. That's the sort of key thing to it, and then slide it up that wall. Yeah, so that's how you do it first gear from neutral. I'll show you that again, but with my hand down here. Look, so I'm going across to the left. You keep the pressure left, and you slide it up that wall. Okay, so you're not going in reverse because you've got that gate there that we talked about earlier. Yeah. So that was how you do it right. What can happen is if you don't apply the pressure, you tend to just push it forward and you end up in third. So that's how you do it wrong. Don't do it like that. Okay, so we're now in first already. We're going to go to second gear. The first movement, apply the pressure to the left and keep it there. That way, as you pull it back, you keep away from getting sucked in by the spring loading. Okay, I'll show you that again. So it's in first at the moment. You apply the pressure to the left and you keep it away. Yeah. If you do that one wrong, so it's back in first now. If you do that wrong, if you pull it back, the spring loading flicks you across, and you end up in fourth gear. Okay, so that's what we don't want. Okay. So we're back in second again now. Second to third. Okay. So this one, you push it far enough to allow the spring loading to pull you across into neutral, which tees it up bang in front of third. So all you've got to do then is just push it forward into third. It really is quite a, once you've got technique, quite a straightforward gear change. Yeah. So that was second to third, which we're back in second again now. I'll show you that one with my hand down here. Knock it out of gear, allow the spring loading to take it back to neutral, tee it up in front of third, push it forward, you're in third. Third to fourth, this is the easiest gear change. Okay, so straight back, yeah, straight back. Shouldn't be any problems with that one. We're in fourth at the moment. We're now going to go to fifth. So, hand on top, knock it out of gear to neutral, rotate your palm left and apply pressure to the right this time. Keep this pressure over here so that you're against this side of gearbox, and then you're into fifth. Yeah, again, technique. I'll show you that one again. So knock it to neutral, apply the pressure to the side, and slide it up that side of the gearbox, up the right hand side of the gearbox. Okay, so it's all about technique. If I just show you to sort of demonstrate the technique, if I maybe go into second gear, okay, so it's not about strength, it's about technique and making sure you got the clutch down when you do the gear change. The clutch buried all the way into the carpet. Sometimes if you're struggling with gears, it can be the fact that you've got a poor technique, but you might not have clutch all the way down as well. Okay, so we're in second at the moment. I'm just going to show you the technique. If you get technique right, this is just to demonstrate how the technique works. So I'm going to do the gear change from second to third with my little finger of the hand that I don't normally do the gear changes with. So it's in second at the moment, so I just knock it out of gear, it's settled, and push it forward. Yeah, so it really is quite straightforward once you get the technique. All right, so you just want to sit on a drive like I am now, strangely, just practicing the gear changes. Yeah, and then you won't sort of panic when you're having to do them under pressure with engine going and tooting the long road with me rabbiting at you. You can also practice different gear changes. So I'm showing you these with my hand down here so that you can see what I'm doing, but sometimes you're going to go fifth to third. So it's just a matter of working out how the spring loading is trying to help you. Yeah, so that will fifth to third. Sometimes you do a fifth to second. There's all sorts of combinations. Second to fourth, yeah. So just sort of sit on drive and practice those. All right. I think that concludes it. I'll see you on your lesson. Cheers. Romans crying.